School, and I'm here, your expert teacher for Science 2. So let us start with the session 2 as we were dealing with the sexual reproduction in human beings. Let's recap. We have seen about the male reproductive system, female reproductive system, spermatogenesis. It is a process of production of sperms, and how the ovum gets released from the ovary. We have seen these processes and the total functioning, different parts of these reproductive systems, and so on. So in today's class, we'll see the first subtopic is a gamete formation. So first of all, let me tell you about the gametes. Okay, the sperm and the ovum. So sperm is the female reproductive cell or the gamete in anisogamous forms of sexual reproduction. Animals produce motile sperm with a tail known as a flagellum, which are known as spermatozoa, while some red algae and fungi produce the non-motile sperm cells known as spermatia. This is just for your extra information. So, in human beings, we have a motile sperm with a tail-like structure, that is flagellum for its activity, okay, for its movement. Sperm usually consist of two morphologically and functionally distinct regions enclosed by a single plasma membrane. So what are these two distinct regions? The tail, which propels the sperm to the egg and helps it to burrow through the egg coat. We will see how it will burrow and it will penetrate the egg coat. Egg coat, that means the outer membranes or the coverings which ovum is having. Okay, and the head part of this sperm, which contains a condensed haploid nucleus. Haploid nucleus. Okay, just remember this. The head part contains the genetic material which is having the haploid nucleus, whereas the tail part, which helps the sperm to the egg, to propels to the egg. Okay, that is a movement towards the egg. Here you can see the structure, the head portion as well as the tail portion. Okay, in the above portion, the head part, you can see the plasma membrane. Then we have that conical part is a acrosome. Then we have the nucleus. Just now, as I told you, it is having the haploid nucleus. There we have the chromosomal material, and then the neck portion, the middle piece and the mitochondria you can see, and the last portion which looks like a flagellum, that's a tail part. So this is the structure of the sperm as we are seeing about the gametes. Now we'll talk about the female gamete, that is the egg cell or the ovum. Okay, in plural form we say ova is the female reproductive cell or the gamete in most anisogamous organism. Let me explain you what is anisogamous. The organism that reproduce sexually with a larger female gamete and a smaller male one. The term is used when the female gamete is not capable of movement. Okay, the sperm which travels towards the ovum, right? So that's why here we use the term anisogamous, where the male gamete is smaller than the female gamete, as well as the female gamete is non-motile. It is at one place. The ovum itself has a central nucleus that contains the female's genetic material. This, with the genetic material in the sperm cell, determines the inherited characteristics of the child. Surrounding the nucleus is a cell plasma or a yolk that contains the nutritional elements essential to the developing egg cell. Here you can see in the picture. You can see the four things over here, like corona radiata, then we have cytoplasm, zona pellucida, and the nucleus. So, what is corona radiata? It's an innermost layer that you can say. of the cell, which provides the vital proteins. Okay. Then zona pellucida is a thick one. Okay. It is a thick transparent membrane which is surrounding the mammalian ovum. Okay. So these are the things as well as the general cytoplasm of the cell and the nucleus. The nucleus which contains what? The genetic material, whereas these two layers are nothing but just a coverings as well as they provides the nutrition, whatever required material for the for its sustain to sustain. It's provided by the other layers that you can see here. Now, how the spermatozoa or these ovums are produced. Okay, first we'll see about the uh, male gamete. There is a system of tiny tubes in the testicles. Testicles, that day I told you on Saturday that the testicles are nothing but the pair of testes. These tubes called the seminiferous tubules. These are the inner lining. Okay, the house the germ cells, that hormones including the testosterone, the male sex hormone, cause to turn into sperm. The germ cells divide and change until they resemble tadpole with the head and the short tail. As I told you the structure, so till that moment it goes on dividing. The germ cells goes on dividing and they give the proper structure with the head and the tail. So that way the sperms are produced. Now, in mammals, the first part of oogenesis starts in the germinal epithelium, which give rise to the development of ovarian follicle. Like seminiferous tubules, these are the functional basic units of the testes. Like that, here we have ovarian follicle is the functional unit of the ovary. That means from these cells we get the gametes. That's why they are the functional unit. Oogenesis, that is a process of formation of ovum, that is called as a oogenesis, is consist of several sub processes. Now it having some sub stages like oocytogenesis, ootidogenesis, and finally the maturation to form an ovum. Okay, so oogenesis proper. Now what do you mean by the uh, ootidogenesis? So by mitotic division only, the primary oocyte is turns into the another form. Okay, that is the ootidogenesis. This is one of the intermediate stage of the oogenesis, the proper ovum formation. Okay, here you can see the spermatogonium first undergoes the mitosis, then meiosis 1, meiosis 2, then we get the spermatids, and the on differentiation we get the proper sperms. Now what is the difference between this? What is spermatids? These are nothing but these are present in the they are having the half of the genetic material than that of the normal spermatocytes. Okay, so that's why it is a the previous stage before the sperms formed, the proper sperms getting formed. Before that, we get the stages of spermatids. Then we have the same way for the ovum also, like primary oocytes, then secondary oocytes. First we get, then we get the polar bodies, and then the mature ovum. Now the next concept that we have is the puberty. It defines as is the when a child's body begins to develop and change as they become an adult. Girls develop breast and starts their periods, whereas boys develop a deeper voice and the facial hair will start to appear. The average age of girls to begin puberty is 11, while for the boys the average age is 12. Here you can see some of the changes at the puberty, okay, in terms of girls. If we talk about the face, you may get the pimples. Sweat, your armpits sweat. Then menstruation, your period begins. About the height, you get taller. Breast, your breast grow. And in hair, hair grows in your armpits, on your legs, and between your legs. About the boys, you get taller. On face, you may get pimples. About your private parts, your penis and testicles gets bigger. About your voice gets deepens. Sweat, your armpit sweats, and the hair grows on your face, arms, legs, chest, armpits, and between your legs. So these are some of the we can say the changes that we see at the age of puberty. Now next we have the menopause. So menopause defines as it means a permanent cessation of the menstruation at the end of reproductive life due to loss of ovarian follicular activity. It is the point of time when last and the final menstruation occurs. In other words, we can also define as menopause is the permanent cessation of the primary functions of the human ovaries. All the primary functions, that means the in the form of the involved the as they produce the ovum, okay, as well as the proper menstrual cycle of 28 days that we are going to see tomorrow in detail. So all these primary and basic function of the ovary is stopped. So that is the permanent, and that is stopped for the forever. So that is permanent cessation, that is stoppage of the primary functions of the human ovary. It is nothing but the menopause. Its meaning, the transition from reproductive to non-reproductive. So after menopause, that particular lady cannot get child, she cannot conceive. So completely non-reproductive. The word menopause literally means the end of monthly cycles, from the Greek word pausis, that is cessation, and the root mean month. So menopause is an unavoidable change that every woman will experience. Definitely, each and every woman has to experience this. The date of menopause in human females is formally medically defined as the time of the last menstrual period. So that is the date of menopause, where she has got the last menstrual period. So we can see two more conditions about the menopause, which are the abnormal condition, or we can say the abnormal level. Like first one is a premature menopause and the another one is a delayed menopause. In premature menopause, a woman's ovaries stop working at a very early age, ranging anywhere from the age of puberty to the age of 40. We have seen the age of puberty for girls is about 11, and from that 11 to 40, in between that, any time this menopause can occur, and that becomes a premature menopause. And this is known as the premature ovarian failure. Okay, that is POF. Whereas in delayed condition, if the menopause fails to occur even beyond 55 years, and it is called as a delayed one. Now, some of the indications and signs of your menopause. Menstruation pattern prior to menopause. What will be the changes? Okay, the what kind of changes you can observe in your menstruation? Any of the following patterns are observed. First one, the abrupt cessation of menstruation, which is rarely found. Then gradual decrease in both amount and duration. It may be spotting or delayed and ultimately lead to cessation. Third one, irregular or without excessive bleeding. One should exclude genital malignancy prior to declare it as the usual premenopausal pattern. Okay, so what do you mean by the genital malignancy? Sometimes we feel that these are the symptoms of menopause, or we can say the prior premenopausal patterns, but it may happen, it may it may be the condition of the vaginal cancers. So it may be that conditions also, in certain conditions of vaginal cancer, some may experience same kind of symptoms. So as we were talking about the gamete formation, so puberty and the menopause. So what is given in our textbook? So gamete formation in both the gametes, that is sperms and ovum, are formed by meiosis. Sperms are produced in the testes of men from beginning of maturation, that is puberty, till the death. However, in case of women, at the time of birth, there are 2 to 4 million immature oocytes in the ovaries of the female fetus. Since from fetal condition, we are having in females, we are having 2 to 4 millions of immature oocytes. An oocyte matures and is released from ovary every month from the beginning of maturity up to the age of menopause, approximately 45 years of age. Menopause is the stoppage of functioning of female reproductive system. Just now we have discussed. At the age of about 45 to 50 years, the secretion of hormones controlling the functions of female reproductive system either stops or become irregular, and this leads to menopause. So it is all depending upon the hormone secretion which are required for the ovaries to get functional as well as to remain reproductive. But once these hormones change their patterns of secretion or they may stop secreting, and then that female has to face the condition of menopause, that is from reproductive condition to the non-reproductive. Now we'll see the next subtopic, that is fertilization. What is fertilization? Fertilization defines is the process of combining the male gamete, that or the sperm, with the female gamete, or we can say ovum. The product of this combination is called zygote. So this fertilization ultimately leads to zygote formation. It is nothing but the combining of the two gametes, that is male and female gamete. So it is the process by which the sperm and the male sperm of the male and the ovum of the female meets and fuse. The site where it happens in the ampullary, a part of the uterine tube, for two reasons. How? Why on the ampullary part only? Because it is close to the ovary and it is the widest part of the uterine tube. It is a narrow, widest part of the uterine tube. Okay, as we have seen the vagina, uterus, and the fallopian tube, that is the oviduct. Yesterday we have seen, that means on Saturday we have seen about the structure of female reproductive system. In that we have seen these parts, right? So why only in oviduct? Because it is narrower as well as the widest. And then another thing, it is a closest to the ovary. Okay, as we know, in humans we have the anisogamous condition, that is the female gamete is non-motile. That's why the condition is like that. So it is closer to the ovary. That's why this is the part where the actual fertilization happens. Okay, now what do you mean by the ampullary part? The ampullary part of the uterine tube, which is the narrower part of the fallopian tube, and which is very much, we can say it is, I mean, the fertilization takes place in this part. So that is the ampullary part. Okay. Here you can see how the fertilization takes place. Okay, how these sperms penetrate the layers of the ovum and the fusion, or we can say the compilation of this ovum and the sperms takes place at the stages of, at the stage of fertilization. The stage of fertilization can be divided into four processes. First one, sperm preparation, that we have seen in the process. Second one is a sperm and egg recognition and binding. Just now we have seen how they get bind. The sperm and egg fusion, and the fusion of the sperm and the egg pronuclei, that is the genetic material. The fusion of the at their, we can say the coverings and all is there, so that penetration we can say. And then we have the fusion of the actual genetic material which is sperm is having as well as the egg is having. Okay, so they are pronuclei and the activation of the zygote. And after the fertilization, which stage occurs? Zygote formation. So the activation of the zygote. So these are the proper 4 stages of the fertilization. Through these stages, the fertilization occurs. Here you can say with the flowchart, like chemo attraction. Second one is a release of acrosomal enzyme, then binding of the sperm to the extracellular envelope, then passage through the extracellular envelopes and the fusion of the sperm and the egg pronuclei. Just now, as I've told you. So here you can ask me like, what is an acrosomal enzyme? It is an enzyme which is released from the acrosomal part of the sperm to penetrate the ovum. Okay, because the ovum having the outer coverings, okay, to the nucleus. So that's why sperm need to penetrate. It travels and it penetrates the ovum. So for that particular process, the acrosomal part that we have seen in the structure of the sperm that releases certain enzymes, and that we called as a acrosomal enzymes. Let's see the types of fertilization. In animals, there are 2 types of fertilization, the internal and external. In internal fertilization happens in the female body, whereas in external fertilization happens outside the body. In mammals, birds, and reptiles, we use the internal fertilization. Copulation. The human reproduction naturally takes place as internal fertilization by the sexual intercourse, and this process is known as a coitus, that is the mating or having sex. The sperm and the ovum are known as the gametes, each containing half the genetic information of the parent created through the meiosis. Okay. Now we'll see the journey of journey of sperm to egg. The sperm immediately begins swimming, and some will find their way into the cervix. The sperm then begin their long journey towards the egg. Leaving the cervix, they enter the womb. Here, they swim towards the fallopian tube. Now, what is cervix? Cervix is a lower part of the uterus. Okay, from vagina as it enters, first of all into the cervix, then it will find its way towards the uterus, that means the womb, and from womb it travels towards the fallopian tube where the egg is present. That is the way, or we can say the way of or journey of sperm to the egg. As we have talked about the fertilization in just now, what is given in our textbook? Formation of the zygote by union of sperm and the ovum is called fertilization. If you have textbook, please make underline over there. Fertilization is internal in humans. Semen is ejaculated in vagina during copulation. We have talked about the copulation also. What is semen? In that on Saturday we have discussed about the semen. Semen is nothing but a fluid. It is a whitish fluid which provides all the required nutrition for the mobility of the sperm. Okay, as it has to travel about 6.5 meters of distance, right? For that purpose, the semen is having the energy source like fructose. Okay, so sperm in the numbers of few millions start their journey by the root of vagina, then to the uterus, and then finally to the oviduct, that is the fallopian tube. One of those few million sperms fertilize the only ovum present in the oviduct. Only one ovum will be there. So from the age of puberty up to the menopause, that is from age of 10 to 17 years of to 45 to 50 years, an ovum is released every month from the ovary. That is, out of 2 to 4 million oocytes, approximately only 400 oocytes are released up to the age of menopause. And so what will happen to the remaining one? They will get degenerate. So, oocytes released from ovaries during the last few months nearing the age of menopause are 40 to 50 years old. Their ability of division has been diminished till now. Due to this, they cannot complete the meiotic division properly. If such oocytes are fertilized where their meiotic division capacity is lowered down, as we know, they gets during the fertilization, this meiotic process gets completed. But if that process is not properly completed, then what will be the consequences? The newborns produced from them may be with some abnormalities like the Down syndrome, as there is no proper genetic, we can say the proper meiotic division, not a proper distribution of the genetic material, and definitely it will lead to abnormalities like Down syndrome. Do you know that is the chromosome number in germ cells producing the gametes are diploid, that is 2n. It includes 22 pairs of the autosomes and one pair of the sex chromosome, like 44 plus XX in female, whereas 44 plus XY in males. These germ cells divide by meiosis. Due to this, gametes contain only haploid, that is n number of chromosomes, that is only 22 plus X or 22 plus Y. Two types of sperms are produced as 22 plus X or 22 plus Y. So whereas oocytes are produced of only one type, as we have only XX in a female counterpart. So that's why 22 plus X. That second point, that is both the sperms and oocytes are produced by the meiosis, the common process. In case of sperms, process of meiotic division is completed before the sperm leave male reproductive tract. Okay, once it is released into the, we can say released from the penis, so and it enters into the vagina. So that before that only, in that process only, it is completely divided through the mitotic division. But in case of the oocytes, which is released from the ovum, the process of meiotic division is completes only after the ovulation, that is during the fertilization in the oviduct. So if we just connect with the previous slide, if that oocyte is not completely or properly divided through the mitotic division, then definitely you can see some of the genetic disorders like Down syndrome. Okay, just because of this, because the mitotic division in case of ovum, it completes after the ovulation, that is during the fertilization. Spermatogenesis is the process by which the haploid spermatozoa develop from germ cells in the seminiferous tubules of the testes. This process starts with the mitotic division of the stem cells, which is located close to the basement membrane of the tubules. This is all about the mitotic division about the sperms. Then mitotic division in ovum. Primary oocytes undergoes the first meiotic division to produce the two haploid cells of very unequal size. The large cell is the secondary oocyte and the much smaller cell is the first polar body. No more changes that occur until after the ovulation and fertilization by spermatozoa. If you remember the comparison, I have shown you both the pictures, one at the one for the male, one for the female, about how their gametes are formed, the process wala flow chart. Now the next part is the development and the birth. This is the last part of today's topic. Like the zygote, which is formed after the fertilization in the oviduct, okay, undergoes the repeated mitotic division and the embryo is formed. Meanwhile, it is pushed towards the uterus. Once it reaches the uterus, it is implanted and further development occurs after the implantation. An organ called as a placenta is formed for the supply of the blood material, supply of the food material during the growth in uterus. Embryonic development is completed approximately within 9 months after the fertilization. That means what? Once the male and female gametes fuse together, zygote is formed. This zygote completely undergoes the repeated mitotic division. That is, the number of cells will increase. Okay, and that embryo will form. And once its embryo is formed, it is pushed towards the uterus for the proper growth and development of the child. So once it reaches the uterus, it is gets implanted over there. That embryo gets implanted over there, and further for the after once it is gets implanted, it gets all the nourishment or the food material which is required through the bloodstream, that is through the placenta. Okay, by means of placenta, and the entire development, growth and development of this embryo happens through the 9 months after the fertilization. Here you can see the egg and the egg and the sperm. Then you get the zygote. Zygote is a fertilized egg cell that results from the union of the female gamete with the male gamete in the embryonic development of the humans and other animals. The zygote stage is a brief and is followed by the cleavage, when the single cell becomes subdivided into the smaller cell. That is all about the zygote. Yeah. So you can see about the fertilization. The sperm and the egg unite in one of the fallopian tube to form the zygote. Then the zygote travels down to the fallopian tube where it becomes a morula. And once it reaches to the uterus, the morula becomes the blastocyst. The blastocyst then burrows into the uterine lining, that is process of implantation. You can see here the process of implantation. Okay, you can see here on the process of implantation, the blastocyst, which is at the day 7, morula at the day 4, the zygote that is at the day 0. Once it is gets fertilized, from fertilization to the zygote, from zygote to the morula stage, that is at the day 4. Then up to the day 7, it becomes blastocyst, and then it gets implanted into the uterine in the uterus, that is further to the blastocyst. So that is so this is the way the implantation happens. Now, what is placenta? The placenta is an organ. Placenta is an organ that develops in your uterus during the pregnancy. This structure provides the oxygen and nutrients to your growing baby and removes whatever the waste products from your baby's blood. The placenta attaches to the wall of your uterus and your baby's umbilical cord. Now, what is umbilical cord? The umbilical cord is nothing but it is a tube which is attached to the babies during the pregnancy and which carries the oxygen and the food to the baby and carry whatever the waste material from the baby's body back to the placenta. So it's a connection between the placenta to the baby through the umbilical cord. Here you can see this umbilical cord which is attached to the placenta. Okay, that reddish part over there, and this a pinkish one like a tube-like structure, that is umbilical cord, which provides all the required nutrients and nourishment to the baby and takes all waste material from the baby's body back to the placenta. These are some of the stages of the embryonic development. Okay, we'll see about what is zygote. The sperm and the egg join to form the zygote. The first cell of the new individual. Zygote results of the fusion of the DNA from the sperm and the egg. Fertilization is occurs in the fallopian tube, and the zygote begins the rapid mitotic cell division and the beginning of the human development. So, what is embryonic development? Embryonic development is when the embryo is formed and develops, right? It starts with the fertilization of the egg, which after is called as a zygote, and the zygote goes through the rapid division. The scientific name for it is a embryogenesis. So, from fertilization to the zygote and the stages we have seen the morula, blastula. So, this is like spermatogenesis. Like that, the scientific name for this embryonic development is a embryogenesis. Okay. Here you can say what about the embryo. The embryo is the developmental stage from the start of the cleavage until the 9th week. The embryo first undergoes division without growth. The embryo enters the uterus at the 16 cell state, and the embryo floats free in the uterus temporarily, and then uterine secretions are used for the nourishment. These are some of the embryonic developmental stages. Okay. We can see this. See, cleavage is the first major phase of the embryonic development. You have to remember this. Then it is rapid succession of the cell division, that is, it undergoes the mitotic division. So it creates a multicellular embryo from the zygote. So there is no growth, only just a cells are increasing. The stages like morula and the blastula. A solid ball of cell is morula, and the little more advanced stage is a blastula, that is single layer of the cell surrounding a fluid-filled cavity, which is called as a blastocele. What do you mean by the blastula is having the blastocele? You can see here the blastocele. The cavity, the cell, the COEL cell is a cavity, is empty place. Okay. Then we have the mitosis. It is a growth of the mechanism, which is why mitosis is required in this stages of the embryonic development, because it is a growth of mechanism which providing for the production of the clone daughter somatic cells, and it is partially responsible for the process of embryonic development, growth and the healing. Okay, from cleavage to the number of cells that we are getting it just because of the mitosis. Objective to create the two nuclei. Mitosis is to duplicate the set of chromosomes in the parent cell to the two daughter nuclei. All these cells have identical genome because the raise from one fertilized ovule in the process called mitosis. Then the duplication of the cells as well as the produces the somatic cells. These are some of the significance of the mitosis. Like what we have, they are used for the growth and repair. They produce the new cells which are identical to the original cells. Okay, so these things we have already seen, as well as it helps in the repair, like repair of the DNA damages, then cytoplasmic growth of the cells, then somatic cells or the vegetative cells, they divide through this mitosis. It is the growth, development and repair. So that is what in general about the significance of mitosis. Next one is the man is totally responsible, that we have, all of you have to remember that is the only totally responsible whether the couple will have a boy or a girl child. During zygote formation, the man contributes either X or Y chromosome to the next generation, right? But woman contributes only X chromosome to the next generation. At the time of fertilization, we have seen the process of fertilization. If the X chromosome comes from male, the child, so from male, we have two options, 22 plus X or 22 plus Y. So if we receive the combination of 22 plus X, then the child will be a girl. And if Y chromosome comes, then the child will be a boy. So thinking of this, it is right to consider the mother responsible. Is it right to consider the mother responsible for the girl child? We all must take efforts to stop female feticide. This is one of the major social issue, but about the gender inequality that we have to think about in a scientific way. And even though the male is responsible, we should not think in that way, but we should stop the that is female feticide. Okay, so this is completely wrong, which is happening in our surrounding. It's a major social issue. Uh, then the two more questions that we have: which hormone is released from the pituitary of mother once the fetal development is complete? Once the 9 months completed, the complete development is taken place, then the which hormone? My second question is, under the effect of that hormone, which organ of the female reproductive system starts to contract and thereby birth process, that is we called as a parturition, is facilitated? So the answer for these two questions, my first question is about which hormone which is released. The hormone is oxytocin, is a hormone which is produced by the hypothalamus and secreted by the pituitary gland. We have seen this on this latest Saturday, that is the how the endocrine system acts. It's a ductless system. Okay, the hypothalamus, then the pituitary gland. Okay, this pituitary gland controls such kind of hormones, and the important hormone plays a crucial role in the childbirth, and that is what the oxytocin, and also helps with the male reproduction. Next, oxytocin stimulates the powerful contraction. That is about the second question. This is the answer for the second question. That is which hormone is responsible for the contraction. That is again the oxytocin, which stimulates the powerful contractions that helps in the thinning and the opening. Opening, that means the dilation of the cervix. As I told you, cervix is the lower part of the uterus, right? That move the baby down and out of the birth canal. Okay, so push out the placenta. Okay, the placenta, which is nothing but a nourishment supplied material, and limit the bleeding at the site of the placenta during labor and the birth. The pressure of the baby against your cervix and then against the tissues in the pelvic floor, that stimulates the oxytocin and the contraction. So see the oxytocin having such a great role in about childbirth. So finally, some of these questions in front of you. First one, that is define the puberty in your own words. Please, those who know the answer can raise their hand. Ma'am, please unmute them, those who will raise their hand. Define puberty. Yes, anyone?
Student, please raise your hand.
My first question, define puberty. Yes, Dilshad. Anjali, Dilshad, Anjali.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, tell me, what is puberty? In your own words will also do.
Okay, ma'am. Puberty is when a child's body begins to develop and change as they become an adult.
Okay, very good. Good attempt.
We can see many changes in boys and girls that
Hmm.
we explain in between the lecture only,
Okay.
like growing of hairs,
Hmm.
etc.
Deepening of voice, then onset of periods in girls. Okay, these are some of the signs. Okay, good attempt. Then, what is menopause? Anyone? What is menopause? Yes, what is menopause? Anyone?
रेकॉर्डिंग करून काय करायचं ते रेकॉर्डिंग करून काय करायचं
Ma'am, can I?
Yes.
Menopause means permanent cessation of menstruation at the end of reproductive life due to loss of ovarian follicular activity. It is the point of time when last and final menstruation occurs.
Yes, and what at what age generally?
40 to 45.
Yes, very good. Good, good, good. Very nice. Then we have a third question. What is fertilization? Very simple question. What is fertilization?
Ma'am, can I? I know the answer.
Yeah, that's great. Any other? Yes, you can, but we'll see many more students are there.
Okay.
Yes, three participants have raised their hand. What is fertilization? As I told you to mark in your textbook also. Yes, ma'am, please unmute them. 3 to 4 participants are there.
Student, unmute yourself. Say the answer.
Yes, Asra Sheikh from Kirnagar. Asra, unmute yourself.
Yes, miss.
Yes, tell me what is fertilization?
The process by which two haploid gametes unite to form a diploid zygote is called fertilization.
Okay, good attempt. Okay, now next and the last question for the day is how many oocytes release up to the age of menopause? That we have 2 to 4 millions, but how many? Very few. So get me that number.
400 around.
Yes, around 400 are released throughout the reproductive phase of that female. That's great. Okay, so if anybody is having any doubt, you can ask. Otherwise, we can wind up the session. Yes, ma'am, I have done with my session. Students, if you have any doubt, you can ask.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. We will see the part that means